be used in this life. And some of us go through many trials. Some of us have been through the fire many times. This morning, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our guest speaker, one of our own, who has been through the fire and has been tested. And God has sent her our way, and we are very blessed. Notice Jen, please come back.
Okay, so I've never really done this before. So my name is Jennifer Nosa, but I go by Nosa. And so by the grace of God, I've been sober since January 3rd of 2013. And so I'm just going to talk about how I grew up, and we'll just go from there. So I believe I was Catholic. I was baptized Catholic when I was born, but I never really went to church or anything like that. And so when I was young, some really bad things happened to me. You know, that there's nothing that I could do about it because I was so young. And so there was a lot of drugs and alcohol in my family. My mom used, and my brother was an alcoholic. And it was me, my brother, and my sister, and my mom. And so my mom was always out, my brother was drinking, so there was a lot of drinking when I was really young. And so, you know, those bad things happened to me, and I didn't really feel like anybody loved me, you know. And so I reached out to drinking. I was 9 years old when the first time I ever got drunk. And I got away with it, which was really cool. My brother come home and he kicked everybody out, and then my mom come home, and I'm growing up spinach because I ate spinach before I started drinking. It was my first time drinking. I never knew that you should eat stuff like that, or at least let it digest. And so my mom was yelling at my brother, saying, "Look what you did! You got her all upset." You know, she didn't know that I was drunk. I told her when I was 16 that I was actually drunk that day. And so, you know, I was drinking and using drugs. At 13 and 14, I went to a group home. My dad was never really in my life. Him and my mom got divorced when I was 2. And so it was really me and my sister. She's 2.5 years older than me. And, you know, even at 13 and 14, I was getting arrested, and the police was taking me home a lot. I was in a gang, and I got in a lot of fights. I shot a couple guns. You know, I mean, that was just my life. You know, I would beat people up if they looked at me wrong. You know, I hated myself from a really early age. I was gay, and I know my grandmother. She was the one that loved me, but you couldn't be gay in her family. She didn't like that. And so I could never tell anybody what I was, you know. And so it was easier just to fight people. My brother, he beat me from the time I was 5 till I was 22, and he tried to kill me when I was 22, 8 months pregnant with my daughter. And, you know, I woke up in the hospital, and I'm like, what the heck just happened, you know? And I love my brother. I do love my brother. You know, he has his own issues. So I was selling drugs, and that was just my life. You know, I thought there was never going to be another way out for me. You know, I didn't know God. I remember, you know, I would pray to God, and I'd be like, please, you know, let me be rich or something, you know, something like that. And it never happened. So it was God's fault that it never happened, you know. And then when good things happen, like, I don't know, I don't even know. When good things happened, it was me that did it. It wasn't God, you know, because I didn't have a relationship with God. And so, you know, I graduated from college. That was all me. It wasn't God, you know. stuff like that, So I came out when I was 20, and, more drugs and alcohol was involved, and, that was my life. And, I had partners. I was with my daughter's father, her name's Cherise, for a while, and I really, really believed that I loved her. And I went through some medical issues and depression, and that's what they called it anyways. And we split up, and I took that really hard because, for somebody that didn't feel ever loved, really, to finally find somebody to love her, and then it was messed up, and it was over with. My heart was broken. And I stopped doing drugs during that time. Yay. And so, but I didn't stop drinking. I kept drinking. We would get in fights, and we would just hit each other and cuss each other out. And, it wasn't a good relationship. I know that today. And so we split up, and I got married to a man. Why not? And that was in 2008. It was in 2008. And I remember when gay marriage became legal, I was like, why did I marry a man last year if I knew I could marry a woman this year? And so, I was happy about that. That marriage was really abusive. I hit him with my car twice. I stabbed him 27 times. I would blacken his eyes. He did, I have to look at what I did to him, not what he did to me. It was just a very sick relationship. It was a lot of cocaine and crown, yeah. That was one of my favorite things. So he went to prison, and I started manufacturing meth. It was before he went to prison. We split up, and this is how God was in my life. We split up, and I was coming down off cocaine. And, when you're coming off of a drug, it's really, devastating. And I prayed to God out loud. I said, God, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to get a job? Do you want me to manufacture meth with this girl? And to me, to me it was God laying everything out for me to manufacture meth. That's how my brain works. And so I started manufacturing meth because getting a job was not what God wanted me to do. That's what I thought anyway. That's not true. That's not true. And so I went on that, and meth takes your soul, and it hurts everybody around you. In 2011, October 23rd, I was making dope, and it caught on fire. And so I caught on fire. My face, my chest, my arms are 3rd degree. My face, my chest, and this arm is 2nd degree. And so I cleaned everything up. It was about an hour and a half after I was burned, and I remember I prayed to God. I said, please, God, please don't let me die like this, because I don't want my kids to see me that way. So then I drove myself to the hospital, and I go in, and I'm like, please help me. And they're like, trauma, and it was just everything, and so they got me down, and they were, I'm like, give me some meds, and I made a big lie up about what happened. And my son, I think he was 16 at the time, and they went and got him from work so that he could identify who it was. And so I know that I didn't look like myself because of the burns that I had. So my son had to see that. He's 16, and he had to see his mom almost dying. They told my mom that I died, and the police were going around trying to find out what happened, saying that this woman is about to lose her life. you know. So I was in the hospital for 11 days. When my mom and my daughter came to get me, my lips were still black because they were burned. And they took skin graft from my leg, so it was all, you know, I couldn't even use the bathroom by myself. And so about a week later, like, it was awful. A week later, I started using drugs again. 2 weeks later, I started making drugs again. So I had these bandages on me, and I'm making drugs. And a little while later, I finally, I went to jail. I've been to jail. Now, I've been to jail 5 times in the past 5 years that I was out. The last 5 years that I was out, I was in jail every year. The first time I was in jail for 6 months it was for intent to manufacture, because they never caught me with drugs, thank God. So I was in there, and that's when I got this Bible. It's $300, and this is the Bible I used when I was in jail. And I read it, like in the front there's like how to read the Bible in a year. And so I was in the hole a lot because I didn't want to listen to anybody, and I wanted to do my own thing. So they gave me that Bible, and I'm like, I don't even understand the Bible, you know. And this one, you know, I could understand it, and so I started reading that a lot. And so, you know, I started going to different 12-step groups in jail and to church. And on the day that I got sentenced, it was April 2nd of 2012, and they told me that, so a church lady that was in the jail church, she stood up for me and she said, please give her a chance. You know, God's working in her life. And I remember when I was in jail, like I knew about the footprints thing, you know, the footprints in the sand, and because I read that poem and I really always liked it. And so I prayed and I cried and I'm like, God, please carry me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, my life, it's either going to be death or prison for me. Those are my options. And I'm not scared of either one of those options, you know. And let me go back real quick. One day, I was like 22, 23, and it was me and my mom driving in the car. We were going to Iowa City, that's where we lived. And she prayed, like the car tire flew out, and she's like, please, Lord, please let a bunch of Christians come and save us. And so, like, that's when I really got to see God work, because a van full of Christians that just got out of church all up and saved us. And I'm like, oh my God, like, that's weird, you know. And so I knew, you know, that kind of got me that maybe there is a God, you know. And so later on, you know, years later, I'm praying that God carry me, like the footprints poem. And so I got out, and I only wanted to do a couple things. I wanted to do it my way, and it didn't work. I was back making meth a month and a half later, and it got really worse. To me it's God again. I was stopped going through probation and stuff, and I'm looking at 15 years in prison, you know, and if I mess up, I could get 15 years. So then I get arrested on January 3rd of 2013, and I find out that there was a warrant put out for my arrest December 31st. And then 3 days later, I get arrested, and I'm on my way to make some dope. You know, I have everybody lined up, my phone, everybody's ready, ready for me to come. I'm coming from Ames, so 2.5 hours I'll be there and we can get this thing going. And I get arrested in Naperville, Newton, Iowa, because my friend didn't stop or make a complete stop his way. I got arrested. I didn't have any drugs on me again, thank God. And at that time, as I was getting arrested, I knew that it was God saving my life once again. And so at that time I surrendered, and I said, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. Because there's a reason for me to live, And so I really believe that God put me on this path. I'm in a 12-step program, and I know that without that program, I don't see God, And so, every day I pray on my knees before I go to bed and in the morning when I wake up. And I don't pray, for me to be rich. I pray that I can be kind, loving, and tolerant towards others, and that I do God's will and not my own. And I pray that He remove my character defects, because I'm a bully and I hit and I cuss and those are the kinds of things that I do, and I manipulate. I'm not a very nice person on my own. And so, I don't know how long I have. How long do I have? Okay. And so I get sober, and it's, everything's not going the way that I want to go. Like, I go in for probation violation, and I'm like, oh, my kids need me. Like, I can't be in here, And no, there was a different plan. I needed to finish this program in jail, and then I got out on March 20th, and my daughter, like, the first thing I did was go and kiss my kids. And then my daughter was like, I'm not going to kiss you on your lips anymore. And I'm like, okay. And so I go into 605 Main, and I'm like, I'm here, and they're like, who are you? And I'm like, Jennifer Nosa, and they're like, you weren't supposed to get out. And I'm like, well, I can leave. And they're like, no. So I sat there for like 3 hours waiting to get booked into this halfway house. It really was not cool. So I don't know how to live without drugs and alcohol at this time. I just don't. I haven't had a job in over 5 years. My life revolves around manufacturing. The stuff that I put my daughter through, she was going to open homecoming for Central. She was in 6th grade, she played the trumpet. And she's like, are you going to be there? And I'm like, yes, I'm going to be there. And this is what I'm using. She's so excited because Mom's going to come, and I don't make it. I pick her up and she's crying outside because it's over and I'm not there. That's the kind of mom I am. My son had a military ball because he was in ROTC, and I never showed up. I never answered the phone. I don't answer the phone. I don't feed my kids when I'm using. My mom and my daughter would call me, and I wouldn't pick up the phone for days. Nothing mattered to me but my addiction. But that's not what I thought. I thought that I loved my kids. I know that I love my kids. And so, I'm sober now, and I'm doing the deal, and I'm going through things, but I'm okay because I know God's got me this time.
Amen.
I get evicted from my house, and I'm like, everything's going to be okay. God's got me. I'm not getting thrown out of my house this time. I'm able to get my stuff. I lose my job, and I get placed right by this church that has meetings that I go to. And the funny thing is that if you open this book, it says First Baptist Church, and that's my home group. So isn't that weird? Like, it just all kind of goes together. I'm like, whoa, that's weird.
God damn.
And I just realized that just like last week, like, oh my God, this is my home group, you know. So that's pretty cool. And so then things start happening in my life. You know, I get a job. I've been at my job for 2.5 years, and I'm a senior rep there. When I'm 18 months sober, my daughter and I get in an argument. You know, I'd never been a mom, really. You know, I remember telling her a lot, you know, get away from my door, and leaving her alone a lot. And so we get in this fight, and I discipline her, you know, and I feel good about it. I feel like I did the right thing, you know. And a week later, she comes down and she kisses me on my lips and tells me that she loves me. You know, she trusts me again. Today, I have a really good relationship with her. She's 17, and she asks me when she can go anywhere, if she can stay the night. She got good grades. I have her in one school. She's been at the same school for 3 years. She'll graduate next year. My son, he's a welder. He's 22, almost 23. He's doing really well. You know, life for me is really good today. And I know, it was funny because when I would go to the Sisters in Sobriety here, and at the time, okay, okay, so I go to Sisters in Sobriety here, and you know, I know that I'm gay, but I never knew that there was a gay church, like, you know, and so I come to Sisters in Sobriety, and my friend Chris is like, you should come to church, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to be around, you know, straight white people. I'm not really into that. You know. I know, I'm sorry. So I'm like, so she texts me, she's like, are you going to church? And I'm like, oh, I'll go next week. And then when I come in and I see all of you guys, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like home. Like, wow. You know, I mean, I felt so welcomed and comfortable. You know, I know this is where I belong. You know, in my life, like God has put me on the path that I need to go. And it keeps showing, He keeps showing me where I'm supposed to be. You know, now I have women in my life that I get to help to stay sober, you know, and that's something I would never, ever do. You know, and I get to come and I get to share who I am with you guys. You know, I just, God is so amazing in my life, you know, and I hope that I never, ever, ever take that for granted. And I hope that I keep praying and I keep coming, because the only reason I'm here today is because of God.
Amen. Amen.